Dan Olds here, Winter Classic Invitational Student Cluster Competition, and we are talking with one of the coaches from the UC Santa Cruz team, Dr. Scott Beamer. How you doing, Scott?
Great. How are you?
I'm good. So, first time doing this, right?
First time coaching, yes. I've been a frequent student computing attendee of the conference, and I've always seen this competition and was always hoping to get involved. As a student, I was, a late grad student when I first became aware of it, so I was perhaps a little too old for it. But now I'm excited to get involved as a coach mentor.
Yeah, and how has that process been for you? Because I know we've been corresponding for months as you put your team together, and as we've finally gotten the vendors on board. How'd you explain it to the students?
We explained this opportunity to get involved with high performance computing and to work together and to get a chance to learn some things and try some things out with some real hardware. And we've been very grateful for just how eager the students we found were to do this, and they've been doing a very good job. Of course, also should point out I'm one of 3 coaches for the team. So my
that's
two colleagues
Yes,
are Professor Heiner Litz and Professor Tyler Sorensen, and they've also been a huge help both for recruiting and for mentoring. And so between the 3 of us, it's been a real pleasure to work with these students.
Yes, and I interviewed your students, and I found them to be a lot of fun in addition to being enthusiastic. Now, is there much curriculum related to high performance computing at Santa Cruz? We
have a couple relevant courses. Although with the quarter system, they're in some ways kind of brief in some ways because quarters are only 10 weeks.
Yeah.
We have a graduate course on parallel programming that most recently has been taught a few times by my colleague Heiner has mentioned. I myself or Tyler may teach in that class in the nearest term. There's actually also a related course in the applied mathematics department. It's on a more classic HPC style computational science kind of math, but they do some Fortran optimization, that sort of stuff as well.
Fortran will never die. You keep thinking it has, but no, it's still out there. How would you characterize the experience that these students have had with HPC before coming into the competition?
So they've had some relevant experience, even if it's not been quite directly labeled HPC.
Yeah. They're not running GROMACs in the dorm.
No, not quite. But some of these students have already had some research experience as part of how we found them. And they had research experience in very relevant skill sets, whether it be computer architecture or systems aspects or other things like that. And so they've already been used to running code on real hardware and trying to make it go faster. They're kind of already used to that ball game.
Well, you guys have some clusters, don't you? At Santa Cruz? Or
so on campus, we actually only have a couple. They aren't super big.
Okay.
So there's I'm gonna get the names wrong. There's the existing one, and then there's a brand new one's coming in that's from a new grant that's gonna be mostly for astronomy.
Okay.
There's a large physics astronomy science group on campus, as well as folks doing genomics, right? And so they also have their own compute resources as well for their work. But within the CSE department, unfortunately, we don't have a ton of general purpose compute to pass around. And so this is why it's great of an opportunity like competition to get access to a sponsor who can give us access to cluster for students to do this kind of research.
Yes. And to get your sponsor in there, it's Google, who I believe the audience has heard of.
Yes, of course.
I believe so. And there's a wealth of different things that you guys can do with them. Have you configured the cluster with them yet?
We've been having that conversation. It's a real interesting thing because as far as we understand, it's 80 teraflops. There wasn't a lot of rules about where those teraflops come from.
That's the way I wanted to leave it.
And so we've had a few discussions, and I think at this point we're
don't tell me.
Trying out multiple options, and we're going to see how it goes. And then
that's exactly try out multiple options
later on.
And we need to know by around the first week of April, and I'll ping you guys mercilessly on that. But yeah, I wanted to leave some creativity. I want to leave some room. So just 80 teraflops, however you want to get there. Now you're not going to be able to hit it on the nose, so we're going to adjust the scores to an 80 teraflop norm. But I think we're going to see some real variance here, which will be interesting.
That definitely sounds like a real fun thing to see.
Yeah. And it's the whole choice. Do you go with several two-way nodes and a few GPUs? Do you go for the gusto with 2 nodes and as many GPUs as you can fit in? That's good for some things. It's not good for others. it's going to be a lot of permutations for your kids to test.
Which we're hopefully excited to get going started on very soon. Now we have access to the cluster. We're going to try and start running things and get the rubber in the road finally. We're excited.
But it sounds like they're going to have a pretty fast start once you get into the hardware.
Oh, definitely. I'm excited for it. We've been trying to prepare it as much as we can.
That's fantastic. And pretty interesting group of kids, as I said before, but also what they're looking for in career options. It kind of runs the gamut, which is interesting, but it's all tech.
Yes,
which is great because, well, this is a tech competition and we've got tech vendors. They're going to be looking at their resumes. That's one thing to encourage them to do is put their resume, give me their resume and I'll put it up on our board for them.
Oh, that's great.
So what's it been like coaching so far? First time? Easy, hard?
So far, it's been very smooth. Like I said, the students are quite eager. And, in some ways, it's not so different than, mentoring somebody in research or other type of experience like that. And so it's been fun. It's been great. Like I said, it's been fun to kind of see their enthusiasm and energy going into these problems.
It's going to be fun to watch. Well, thank you so much for your time. Tell the other coaches we said hi, and we'll catch up with you guys in another interview again and see how they're doing. Thank you.
Will do. Thank you.